Everybody told me that retirement is this huge reward. As a matter of fact, so many people said to me, you're going to love it because every day is like a Saturday. But what they didn't tell me is all of a sudden these Saturdays lead to a life of being aimless, not really having any purpose, and not really sure what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. So today I'm going to share with you 19 truths that I wish I knew in my 50s to better prepare for the retirement that I'm living now. And I'm going to jump right in. The first one is this idea of being comfortable, being able to sit back, take it easy, and do nothing. All that does for me is to build up this big level of stress. When you're stressed as much as I was in the beginning, then you start to age a lot quicker than you really need to. This idea that you can just sit back, take it easy, and not challenge yourself and just take day to day, live every day like a Saturday, that really does become stressful because you start to miss work, you start to miss your friends, you start to miss having purpose in your life. And that's not the best way to go through life. We have to find ways to challenge ourselves. We have to find ways to get out of the comfort zone. You heard this during your whole career. I was in sales and I was told all the time, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You got to pick up the phone. You got to make the cold calls. Well, it's not like that in retirement, but what you need to do in retirement, you need to push yourself. You need to go to the gym. You need to reach out and find friends. You need to call people that you used to know in the past and you want to associate with them again. So this idea of just being comfortable every day and living every day like a Saturday is not a good plan. You will age quicker than you want to, and you'll feel lost and aimless. So that's not a good idea. The second thing that I wish I knew was that freedom isn't the goal. Freedom's a test. So one of the things that I always wanted when I was working is I wanted the freedom. I wanted the freedom to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, who I wanted to do it with. So let's break that down. When I want to do it. Well, if you have all of this freedom and you have free day, every day is like a Saturday, what are you going to schedule? On Saturdays, my whole career was a day to relax, maybe play golf, do some errands. But you can't do that every single day. So this is a test. So when you've got some freedom, what you need to do is you need to nail down a couple of things each day. For me, it's in the morning when I get up. I've got my ritual, and that helps me start my day and finish my day by having this morning and evening ritual. You've got to find a way to bring that into your retirement, because just waking up like it's a Saturday, it's kind of like fun. You know, you get to sit back and have coffee and watch TV for a little while, maybe go for a walk. That doesn't work 7 days in a row. It just doesn't. So freedom is a test for you. It's not really the solution, it's a test, and you have to find a way to push through that. Here's another thing that I wish I knew, that when you get to this stage of life, sometimes I can feel like I'm invisible. Like no one's talking to me. No one really cares. But that's not really what's happening. What's happening is I've just gone quiet. It just happened to me this morning at the gym. I'm at the gym. I got my buddies. The thing is, it's interesting, is that I'm 68 and the rest of the people in the gym are all between 38 and 44. They're all parents. They all have kids in the same school. There's 12 of them. And they are really tight and good friends. And I'm the old guy. Now, I don't call myself the old guy because I keep up with them and everything, but they have their own little community. And today I really found myself outside of that community. We were running around the building together and they were talking about something. And I had no idea what they were talking about. So I asked one of them, what are you guys talking about? Oh, well, we have a private text group. We forgot to include you. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm not in that text group, and that's fine. But then I got quiet for 15 minutes, and I thought to myself, bullshit, I'm not going to be quiet. I'm going to keep inserting myself into this group, and if I'm not in their text group, that's fine, but I'm not going to be invisible. And the only way not to be invisible is to be really visible. So I engaged even harder than I normally do, asking them questions. How are you? What's happening? What's going on with your kids? So that's on me, and that's on you. So don't let yourself become invisible. really do all you can to engage as much as you can with those around you. By the way, if you're new in retirement or been in retirement for a while, we have this 1-year retirement checklist. It's in the first link below in the comments. Download that now. It's a great tool to kind of get you prepared or reset your retirement. Here's another truth that I wish I knew when I was in my 50s is that you can't heal what you don't face. So what I mean by that is if you have a problem and you're feeling some kind of pain, whether it's loneliness or pain in your body, you've got to face it. You've got to deal with it or it will fester and become worse. Let's go back to the example this morning. Had I stayed quiet and had I started to feel outside of this group, it easily could have festered over the next 2 or 3 days at the gym till the point where I withdraw, I shut down, and now I'm in a bad place. So if I can't use this morning 5 a.m. gym class as my community and I lose that community part, that's a huge part of why I go. I want to be around these people. These are other people that want to build muscle, that want to live healthy, that want to get better at who they are. And if I lose that community and then I lose the gym, I'm the one that loses it. So if you've got something going on in your life, the most important thing you can do is face it and deal with it. And if you need help with that, your partner, your spouse, one of your kids, a good friend, tell them how you're feeling and ask them what they would do. Get some coaching, get some advice from others. Be able to talk about these kind of things so that you can work through it. It's a really important part of your entire life, but definitely in this phase of life where we find ourselves alone a lot more, it's really important to do. Here's another thing. When I was in my 50s, my 30s and 40s, I loved creating things. I loved learning. I loved being around other people that like to learn. What happens in retirement is, and I'll use Jody and I as an example, is we're constantly learning. We're reinventing ourselves. We're finding new ways to give back. I used to be an insurance broker in sales for 38 years. Now I'm a YouTuber. Here's the thing. Not everyone in this stage of life is going to cheer your reinvention. So what do I mean? I don't have any problem telling people that I'm a YouTuber. As a matter of fact, it's kind of fun, particularly when I tell younger people because they look at me like I have two heads. How could that be? But when I tell them what I'm doing, like, oh, that's great. Not everyone's going to really be that excited about it, particularly in retirement when most people or many people don't want to reinvent themselves. They want to take the path of least resistance. They want to take the path of the BS that we've been sold for decades, that you get to this phase of life, you sit back, you take it easy, and do nothing. That's not for me, and that might not be for you. And if you're watching this video and this is you and you're really relaxing, listen to this because life can be better if you find a way to reinvent yourself. There's nothing wrong with it, but my point is not everyone's going to pat you on the back and say, good job, Mark, I'm really happy you're a YouTuber. Many people look at me like, why are you doing this? I don't understand why you're putting in so much effort to build a business when you're retired. You should be doing nothing. But that's my choice. So don't look for the pat on the back when you reinvent yourself. Do it for other reasons. All right, here's one that I wish I knew in my 20s. Health. Health needs to be your ambition. I wish I was as serious about my health in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s as I am now. It is my number one thing. It's not number one before Jody, but it's right there. Because if I can work on my health, exercise, nutrition, little or no alcohol, for me it's no alcohol, doing all of the right things, seeing my doctor, doing what he says, getting tested, making sure nothing's going on in me that I'm not aware of, being really aware of how I feel. This is the ambition that we should all have once we turn 50. For sure, we should have done it in our 20s, 30s, and 40s. And if you haven't, and you're watching this and you're hearing this for the first time, make your health your lifelong ambition. It is without a doubt the most critical component of the ability to not only live longer, lifespan, but health span. To be able to have those last 5 or 10 years of your life where you're getting up out of a chair without help, you're walking, you're not using a cane or a walker, it is really critical to make this your number one priority in life, your health. Make it your new ambition. Here's one that goes along with that. Your body's going to keep score. Your body's going to tell you what's going on. When you have trouble getting up off the floor with your grandkids, that's a clear sign that you need to do something to work on that, because you cannot go through life having trouble getting up off the floor, because the next thing is you won't be able to get up out of a chair. But if you're not moving every single day, your body is going to stagnate and it's going to keep score. And you're going to start to feel tired and lazy, lethargic, not really want to get off the couch. You just find it easier to watch TV all day long than it is to get out and walk 10 minutes one way and 10 the other. So moving your body, which aligns with your health, is critically important at this stage of life. It's, they say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of something. I forget the saying, but it's preventive care. It's being able to move your body in a way that now you're building muscle, you're feeding it protein, and you're going to live longer and healthier. You're going to work on your health span. Let's talk a little bit about your marriage, if you are married or if you're in a relationship. Retirement is not going to fix your marriage. I'm telling you right now, there's not a magic pill or a magic wand that all of a sudden you wake up, you've left your career, your wife or husband has left their career, and now you're spending 24/7 together. The fact of the matter is that while divorce rates in America are lower than they were 10 years ago, it's significantly higher in gray divorce, people over the age of 55. When all of a sudden now you're with your spouse or your partner spending all day long and all night trying to figure out what to do, just the fact that you're spending more time together isn't going to fix anything. As a matter of fact, what starts to happen is you may start to notice things about your wife or husband that you don't really like, that you really haven't paid attention to in the past. So don't think, and again, I wish I knew this in my 50s. I am divorced. I was married 25 years and got divorced. If I had known this, I think I would maybe have come down a different path. But I know it now, and Jody and I spend a lot of time working on our marriage, and we do videos on it, and we share our struggles, and we share our wins. But this is something you really have to think about. Don't think that retirement's going to fix your marriage. It won't. You have to work on it. And there's so many videos on our channel about that. Just go into the search and search relationships, marriage, things like that, and you'll see a bunch of videos that will talk about that. Let's talk about comfort. This idea that if your days feel empty, then you're avoiding things. You're avoiding the hard things that you want to do, that you should do, like go to the gym, take a class, go volunteer, call a friend. I think that being comfortable, I talked to some people and said, how's your retirement? Oh my God, it's great. I'm so comfortable now. Well, what do you do all day? Well, I watch TV, and then I might go hit some golf balls. I play golf 3 days a week. I watch a lot of TV. I go to the bars with my buddies at night. We play poker. All of those little social components are fine. But I believe that we have to keep, and I talked about this earlier, keep coming out of our comfort zone. Do some of the things that challenge us. And who really wants a challenge at this age? Well, I love it. I love trying to figure out how to do better at this YouTube channel. I love trying to figure out how to exercise differently at the gym. I love to figure out new recipes. I like to figure out new ways in which to bring protein in my body as I'm building muscle. So having some good solid routines during the day is helpful. Having some good solid relationships that you see on a consistent basis is really important. So don't just get too comfortable. The other thing that I wrote this down this morning, the hardest person to lead is yourself. And I never thought of that in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. I was always leading everyone else. And when I'm leading everyone else in my company or my friends, whatever it might be, I'm learning along the way. But when you get to retirement and you're here by yourself, now I have Jody, I have our kids, but I'm not really leading anybody. That's over. So now I've learned on how to lead me, how to get out of my comfort zone, how to get up and go to the gym, how to move all the time, because there's no accountability partner, right? It's just me. I don't have a team at work to keep track of what we're doing well and how the numbers are. It's just me. So leading yourself is really important. I've talked about a few things already that you need to do, but finding the strength, the vitality, the courage to hold yourself accountable for some of the things that you know you should be doing is really critically important. Curiosity. I've always been a little bit curious, but I'm even more curious now than ever. And I wish I was a little more curious in my 20s and 30s and 40s because I think I would be better prepared for retirement. But now I'm forcing myself to be curious. I'm reading a lot of books. I'm watching YouTube episodes. I'm watching documentaries. Jody and I watch very little TV, but we get very curious about everything. Even when we see something in the news, we don't necessarily read that news article, but we're curious about why people are saying that. Well, why are we having trouble in the Middle East? If you read the news articles, it kind of tells you what they think. But being curious and doing research on your own to figure some things out is really important. Ask a lot more questions. Assume a lot less. Try some things that scare you. Try being a beginner at something. It really is helpful to have this kind of attitude in retirement to make it more fulfilling. Let's talk about friends, because when I left my career, 20s, 30s, and 40s, I was surrounded by hundreds of people at work. Colleagues, clients, centers of influence, people at the gym, my golf buddies. They were boundless friends with boundless conversations, lunch every day with different people, dinner at night with clients. It was great. When you enter retirement, that's over. Those people do not reach out to you. Some do, but I'm telling you, if I look at my LinkedIn profile and I look at all of the people I was connected with, 1,000 people during my career, I hear from a handful of them. And the only reason I hear from them is because I'm initiating conversation. And I don't feel bad about that because it's never, oh my God, why are you calling me? It's thank you for calling. So it's up to me and it's up to you to build these friendships, to nurture these friendships, to find new friends. And that's the hardest thing in the world for me. I'm a self-diagnosed introvert. People say that's impossible. It is. For me to do a video like this, for me to walk into a room of 100 people, takes a lot of energy and I'm exhausted when it's over. But it's up to me to make that effort. I just called a buddy yesterday. His name is Stan. And I heard through the grapevine that his wife is in a nursing home. His wife has Parkinson's that's leading into dementia, and that he's feeling a bit lonely and a bit scared. I hadn't talked to him in 2 years. So I called him yesterday, and we talked for a good 45 minutes. And basically, I listened the entire time. And at the end of the call, I said, Stan, I really want to come see you again. He said, well, my wife's in pretty good shape now. She has good help. I'm thinking of coming down to Florida. I'll definitely come and spend a couple nights with you. And he said, I just want to thank you for calling me and more importantly, for just listening. A lot of people don't want to listen to what I'm going through. So I want to encourage you to make a list of 20 people that you haven't talked to in a couple of years, work colleagues, mentors, people that really made a difference in your life. Call them and thank them. The conversation it's so helpful to them and it's helpful to you to have, again, reignited this bond. So don't be fearful of that and don't give up on your friends. So money, having enough money in retirement certainly is important. And it solves a lot of stress problems, 100%. If you've got enough money and you're paying your bills and you got extra for vacations and all of that, that's great. But it doesn't solve the feeling of being empty or lonely. So just because you have a good balance sheet or your personal finances doesn't mean that your personal balance sheet, how you feel, when you get up in the morning, how you feel when you're eating a big meal, how your relationships are doing, whether you're sad and lonely. You've really got to take a look at your life, your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your relationships, your relationship with your wife or partner, your ability to give back, to think of something bigger than you to make a difference in the world. That's really more important than the money side of things, particularly if it's all set. So don't just sit back on your laurels. I have enough money. My financial planner says I'll be fine. Okay, great. So put that aside and work on yourself. It's just as important, if not more important. So resting, rest isn't laziness. It's a renewal. Now, I have no problem now, maybe 3-4 days a week, grabbing a nap, hour or 45 minutes, because I wake up and I'm more energized. You want to schedule pauses throughout the day. You want to not be going 90 miles an hour every single day. And I wish I was doing this in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. I didn't. I was just constantly pushing and pushing. You got to find time to be still. My morning ritual is this. I get up at 4 a.m., and I'm not saying you have to get up at 4, but I get up at the same time every single morning. I sit and I have 12 ounces of water. I have a Bible app on my phone. I do scripture for 5 minutes. I journal for 10 minutes. I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, 1 self-affirmation, and 3 things I'm really excited about today that I'm looking forward to. It's a little bit of stillness, a little bit of checking in with myself. And then I get up and I go to the gym and I work out hard and I meet my friends. Then I come back, I have coffee with Jody for 30 minutes, and then she takes off to go to the gym. Then I have another 45 minutes where I will walk Ruby, walk our dog for a half an hour, maybe call a friend. But having these moments of stillness throughout the day are really important. And don't call it laziness. Call it actually being able to renew yourself, to have the energy and the vitality to keep growing in your life. Let's talk about gratitude. I just told you that I write down 3 things I'm grateful for every morning. I want to tell you, I've been doing that for 7 years now, nearly every single day. And the first gratitude I always write down is my wife, Jody. And I put something about her specifically that I'm grateful for. That has bulletproofed our relationship. Do we still fight? Yep. Do we still get mad at each other? Yes. But I love her to death. She is the one thing in my life I'm more grateful for than anything else. And when you can feel that way about a human being, it is such a deep connection. But I feel that way about my children. I feel that way about our YouTube channel. I feel that way about my parents who are actually gone. I'm grateful that my parents gave me the tools that I have now to be the human being that I am. The best part of my parents ended up inside of me, and I'm so grateful for that. So finding a way to constantly work on being grateful for the weather, for your friends, for your health. Even when your health is bad, there's other things in your life you can be grateful for. So really is important to do that. And don't ignore this whole idea of being grateful. Don't minimize it. It makes a massive difference in your life. Let's talk about legacy. When you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s, you're not thinking about your legacy. But I think you're all familiar with a tombstone where you've got the date you were born, the date that you die, and then the dash in the middle. That's your legacy. That's what people remember you for. They might remember the day you die or you're born, but that's not the first thing that pops into your mind. I mean, just spend a second thinking of some really important people in your life, like my father. I don't really remember the day he died, the date, but I do remember what he taught me. I do remember that although he was an alcoholic and we had issues around that, I still learned so much from my dad. So that's his legacy. My dad's legacy is everything that he taught me and that I passed on to my kids and they're passing on to their children. So what is your legacy? It started a very long time ago, whether you know it or not. But if you're about to end your career and you're 60 years old, good chance you're going to live another 30 years. So what's your legacy going to be? The first 60 or the last 30? For me, it's my last 30. The insurance career I had was great. Learned a lot, taught a lot. I grew, accumulated some wealth, got a lot of experience. But this is my game now, doing this YouTube channel and some other things, mentoring some people, making sure my kids are good. But what is your legacy? And again, I wish I had thought more about it when I was younger, because really what I thought my legacy would be my career. And when that ended after 38 years, I thought, okay, if I die today, there's a good story to tell. I was involved in a lot of nonprofits. I helped a lot of people in my business. I helped a lot of my clients. But that's like 8 years old now. It's actually older because the last 3 years of my career was kind of slow. So I haven't done any of that career stuff for like 12 years. This is what I will want to be remembered for. This, my book. And if you don't have my book, there's a link below to The Evolving Man. That's what legacy is. Really, really important. Let's talk about aging, because I am aging. I'm 68. A year and a half, I'll be 70 years old. Gosh, when I was 50, I thought 70 was ancient. I mean, when I was 50, my dad was 70, and he died 10 years later. He died at the age of 80. So aging isn't about decline, or in my mind, it's not. It's really about designing who you really were meant to be. My 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, we're getting myself ready for this. Now, I'm reinventing myself. I'm designing the kind of life that I want for me, and I hope that some of what you're getting from this video and our other videos is helping you design the life for yourself. Don't think about it getting older. Sure, we're all going to die one day. Get that. There's an end game here. But don't think that this is about aging, because then you're going to age. You're going to get lonely. You're going to get sore. You're not going to exercise. You're going to give the excuse of, oh, I can't get off the floor because I'm getting older. No, it doesn't have to be like that. This is about really redesigning your life and doing things differently than our previous generations were. So I think that's really important. Let's talk about self-worth. You know, self-worth doesn't retire when you do. So self-worth during my career looked like showing up to work on time, being successful, reaching our goals, reaching our numbers and all. That was my self-worth. And it was my title. I was CEO of the Rollins Agency. I was regional president of Brown & Brown after I sold my company to them. I don't have a title now. I'm Markham Rollins. That's who I am. I'm not retired. I'm a YouTuber. I'm helping people rethink this stage of life. So that, I think, is pretty worthy. What are you doing? And I'm not judging you because you're not doing something. I'm telling you, forget about your title. Forget about what you did during your career. What can you do now to feel great about yourself, to really have some self-worth beyond your title and your name and what you used to do? My dad spent years telling people, they'd say to him, what are you doing now? Well, I'm retired. Here's my business card. It says retired. But I used to be president of Rotary Club. I was president of Lions Club. I was CEO of the Rollins Agency. That's all used to stuff. That was 20 years. He retired at 65. He died at 80. So for 15 years, he was the used to be guy. Don't be that. Be someone different. Be someone who makes a difference. Think about something bigger than yourself where you can actually have an impact on other human beings and the planet, whatever your choice might be. Just to kind of wrap this all together a little bit is that the second half of your life, or the third phase, however you want to call it, Jody and I call it the discovery years. It's not about decline. It's not about aging. It's not about being lonely. It's not about not doing enough. It's really about you redesigning this phase of life and doing something for yourself. Being the CEO of yourself, working on your body, your mind, and your spirit, working on your relationships, working on your health, working on the ability to give back, volunteer, whatever it might be. Don't just think that life slows down now and that you've done everything in your career, so everything is okay now and you could just relax and treat every day like a Saturday. That's just not a way to go through this phase of life at all. Now, let me take a couple questions our team put together from our YouTubers. So here's the first one. This is from Karen, 61. She's in Arizona. I retired 2 years ago and thought Freedom would feel amazing. But most days, I just feel restless. How do you rebuild structure without feeling like you're back at work again? Great question. And I don't ever want to feel like I'm back at work again with that structure and that cadence and that constant, I have to be there on time. I have to go to this meeting. So you want to start building some structure around what you want to do, what you like to do. I like going to the gym. I like having coffee with buddies. I like playing golf with Jody. All of that is structure. We're playing golf tomorrow. We try to play golf every Friday afternoon. We work a little bit in the morning, and then we play golf. So start putting some structure in place on things that you want to do. Then it won't feel like work. It'll be things that you want to do. It's a great question. Here's a question from Michael, Burlington, Vermont. You talk a lot about drift. We do, retirement drift, this feeling of being uneasy and lost purpose, feeling like a ship at sea without a rudder. So we talk a lot about drift. How do you actually know when you're in it? I keep busy, but sometimes it still feels off, like I'm just filling time. That's a good question. So structure helps a little bit. Having some kind of purpose, which could be volunteering, mentoring, writing a book, writing a blog, helping somebody else, helping a young person start a business if you've got business background, coaching a friend, coaching someone in your industry, going back to your employer saying, I want to work 5 hours a week. Because we all at this stage of life have a tremendous amount of experience and a tremendous amount of ability to see differently because we're smarter. We've got all of this experience and this time-tested success. So find a way to take some of that and put it to good use. Go to the local food bank if food is your thing, if food insecurity is your thing. If there's a disease that runs through your family, whether it be cancer, we've had our fair share of cancer in our family, get involved in an organization like that. But find a way, again, to have some purpose beyond just this aimless, I'm going to wake up today and figure out what to do. Having a full schedule is not a bad thing in retirement, as long as it includes a lot of things that excite you. All right. Robert, 59, from Charleston, South Carolina. You said comfort can be dangerous. I've gotten too comfortable. How do you push yourself again when the urgency is gone and stakes feel lower? Okay, so I would say that you've got to find some urgency. And how do you do that? Well, again, if you're helping someone else, if you're volunteering, if you're serving on a nonprofit board, there's urgency for you to deliver. And again, I'm talking about 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week. This isn't going back to 50 or 60 hours a week. Just having a component where 1 day a week or 2 mornings a week, you're helping out, again, at the local food bank or the library, you're reading to children, whatever it might be, there's a sense of urgency. You want to prep for it. You want to show up. And when you're done with that, you're going to feel great. You're going to have this fulfillment that maybe you haven't had in a long time. Okay. Ellen from Madison, Wisconsin. I used to have a strong identity as a teacher. Now I feel invisible. Oh my gosh, Jody and I have so many friends who are teachers who are struggling with thinking about retiring, even though they have like a 90% pension. Anyway, Ellen, I used to have a strong identity as a teacher. Now I feel invisible. How do you find purpose again when the career part of your life is over? So one of the beautiful things about being a teacher is that you're really good at teaching. You're good at sharing. Start finding a way where you can either reteach what you've already done, working part-time, per diem, maybe teach 1 day a week, go to the local YMCA. There's kids programs abound. Maybe you can spend 2 hours in YMCA, 2 afternoons a week, teaching some kids, reading to them. You've got to find you're not a teacher anymore and you feel like you are, what did she say? When the career part of your life, it's over, but you still can do a part of that in some way by giving back, coaching, mentoring, whatever it is. If you taught for 30 or 40 years, you like being up in front of the classroom and you like helping people learn. So find different ways in which you can do that again. Hope you enjoyed this video. This next one, we give you a 1-page purpose hack document to really find new purpose in your life. So this might be a great video to watch. The 1-page purpose hack will change your life. Watch this next.